Hi, and welcome back to the Seven Thunders video series. We are studying the vision of the little scroll of seven thunders in Revelation 10 because the clock and the key have been sealed within this little scroll for the past 2,000 years, awaiting the time when the bride of Christ arrives at her midnight hour in age-to-age timekeeping, and that time is now. Today, I want to call attention to the mighty angel's pledge of allegiance. Immediately after the voice from heaven told John to seal up what the seven thunders said and do not write it down, we read these words. Then the angel whom I saw standing on sea and land raised his right hand to heaven and swore by him who lives forever and ever, who created the heaven and what is in it, the earth and what is in it, and the sea and what is in it. Anyone who is familiar with the story of creation in Genesis 1 will certainly recognize the sentiment spoken by the mighty angel. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and the Spirit of God moved about over the waters, heaven, earth, and seawater. The angel's oath of allegiance is further confirmation that the seven thunders relate to God's voice within creation. But then the angel continues, there will be no more delay. And there it is, the subject of time intersecting with the subject of language. The one wheel serving two purposes right there in the middle of this vision. So what does the mighty angel say about time? He says there will be no more delay. Well, what was it that was being delayed? Why would the mighty angel say, time's up? What happened in this vision just prior to the angel raising his hand, his right hand, to take that oath of allegiance? What happened right before he raised his right hand? The seven thunders were sealed. The angel's oath is actually part 2 of this vision. Part 1 is everything that describes the mighty angel, all hearing the roar, seeing the scroll, and hearing the seven thunders, all the way up to the point at which the seven thunders are sealed. Now we're in part 2 of this vision, and the mighty angel is speaking to John from a distant midnight hour in age-to-age timekeeping, when the seal on the seven thunders would open and the mystery of the seven thunders would be unveiled. It's the seal on the seven thunders that caused the delay. But the time is up when the mighty angel says there will be no more delay. The seal must be broken. The seven thunders must be heard. But let's appreciate that the seven thunders only unveil God's voice within creation. The seven thunders do not fulfill the mystery of God. So the mighty angel continues. But in the days, now we're going into the future, from the midnight hour, we are now going into the future. But in the days when the seventh angel is to blow his trumpet, that is when the mystery of God will be fulfilled, as he announced to his servants, the prophets. Okay, so we have a few things to consider here. We must acknowledge the intersection of time and language during the angel's pledge of allegiance to the creator of heaven and earth. We must acknowledge that a time of delay comes to an end. We must acknowledge that the ending of the delay does not indicate a fulfillment of the mystery of God. The sound of the seven thunders precedes the blowing of the seventh trumpet. This is true. But the mighty angel says, but in the days when the seventh angel is about to blow his trumpet. So we have a passage of time to consider here. When we look at this key of seven thunders, we also must realize it is a clock of seven thunders, which allows us to understand what that passage of time means. How far in advance of the seventh trumpet will the human spirit hear the seven thunders? In other words, if the seven thunders are unveiled at midnight, how far in advance is that from the sound of the seventh trumpet? Do we think that the vision of the mighty angel takes place after the sound of the sixth trumpet? Because that's where Revelation 10 and 11 are inserted into Scripture. Could it be that the seven thunders precede the seventh trumpet by thousands of years? Or are we convinced that the visions in the book of Revelation have all been fulfilled 2,000 years ago? Will the seven thunders guide the human spirit toward the time of the seventh trumpet? Yes. Could it be that the bride of Christ is confused by timekeeping matters? I think we are. Must she hear and understand the seven thunders so she knows what must take place before the sounding of the seventh trumpet? Yes. That is the intention of the key of seven thunders. Now it's midnight and the bride of Christ is hearing a shout like the roar of a lion. People are waking up to the sound of the seven thunders. God's voice within the whole creation is being heard. The key with its two wheels of light will give us everything we need to know to move toward the time of the seventh trumpet. Next up, eating a scroll. See you then.